Again, hello and welcome. You'll notice that you are muted. Uh, that way you can just listen and participate. But if you have any questions at all during this presentation, just use the chat that is available and we'll answer those throughout the workshop. And we will drop links in the chat as well as we mention them. That way you can click and save them and access them later. This workshop is being recorded. It's being streamed on the Plano Public Library's YouTube channel, and it will be available likely the beginning of next week. It takes time to process on YouTube's end, but you'll be able to catch the recording of it next week. And just in case there's something you want to go back over, review, so there will be an opportunity for that. And you'll get an email in a few days with that link, which will be really nice. And looks like we can go ahead and get started. So my name is Rachel Isagiri. I'm a librarian here with Plano Public Library. And with me, I have Sabrina, who is going to be helping out in the chat and dropping those links that I was just talking about. And today we're going to be talking about Canva and how you can use Canva as an online graphic design platform and marketing tool. So today we're just going to go over the basics of what Canva is as a marketing resource and getting started with building some branding resources within Canva. We're going to go over the workspace that way you can see what all the buttons are and everything, and then build a brand kit of logos and fonts and all of that. So you can get a really good look about how to use the space. Just so that we can sort of all start on the same foot, I have a few definitions here that might just be useful for anyone who may not know about what marketing, brand, and logo, what they mean, what they are, because I'm using a lot of those words, a lot of these words often in this presentation. Marketing, it is the activity that you do to tell customers and clients about who you are and what you make and what you provide. And then your brand is a name, a term, design, symbol, anything that identifies one business, one good from another. And then a logo is a graphic design that can be used as a continuing symbol for a company, organization, or brand. So what is Canva? It's a very good question. Canva is an online graphic design platform used to create social media graphics, presentations, posters, documents, videos, and other visual content. There are templates, stock images, and video, and many other tools to help you achieve your branding and promotional goals, whatever they may be. And it's been around since 2012, and over the years has added a plethora of features to make this just a powerhouse of a marketing tool, especially for people who aren't particularly design savvy or have the time to create content from scratch. It can be really handy to just snap some photos on my phone, upload them to Canva, and make content out of it, whether it's a social media post, a flyer, whatever, it is incredibly handy. And just for context, I work in the programming and engagement department within the library system. So I handle a lot of our social media and other projects like that and use Canva on almost a daily basis. So how do you access Canva? So Canva is natively in a browser. So like Google, Facebook, anything like that, it's online. So they also have a desktop and mobile app. And those are just different ways you can access it, however you want to do it. Mobile app's kind of fun. If you've already snapped pictures on your phone, you can drop them into the mobile app and get going that way. Desktop is a little easier just because you have a little bit more visual space in front of you. Overall, you do need an email address to set up an account on Canva. That's how you log in. They have different plans. So there is a free version that you can, if that's what you want to start with, just to see if you like it, you want to play around with some of the tools, that's a great place to start. It does only have the basic features of Canva. There are a lot of other resources that Canva has that you would have to have a different account to pay for. But again, if you're just starting out, you just want to play around and see if you like the feel of it and how you want to use it, the free one's a good one to go with. There is a pro account, typically for a single person. Maybe it's a business owner or a freelancer who just wants access to more features like the stock photos and video. There's lots of templates you can utilize, setting up that brand kit that we were talking about, and there's just other special tools that you have access to. There is a Canva for Teams, which is actually the account that we use here and what I'll be showing you through this workshop series. And it's everything you get in a pro account, but it's just built for more people. So like you have a main account plus some team members, I think it's 4, who all have access to the same brand kit and templates. And then you can like lock down elements, anything like that. And it's just a great collaboration tool if you have more than one person on your team working on some of these projects. Now, if you're an educator or you work in a nonprofit, there are options to have a lot of these features without paying for them. There's just a few extra steps that they lay out that you have to prove your status as an educator or in a nonprofit. So I'll show you how all of those are set up. And then once you have your account set up, you look around, you log into the Canva account, and we'll check that out. So,
hey Rachel,
yes.
We do have a question.
Sure.
Someone asked if you want to use it for free. They're asking if we will be using the same features in this program.
So because we're using a Pro Teams account, we'll be using a lot of the paid for features there are, and I'll be able to show you how you can tell which one is a paid for feature versus which one's a free feature, because they have little icons next to all of them. So some of the things we'll use are free, but some of them are those paid features.
All right, thank you.
No problem. So now we're going to open up Canva. Oh, wrong one. That's the one I want. So this is what Canva looks like when you log in. I went ahead and logged in, that way I didn't have to deal with it. But this is generally what the desktop looks like when you pull it up. Now, since this is recorded and people may watch this at a later time, as Canva adds different features and new things, they may change the layout. It may not look exactly like this whenever you have access to it. That's just, they change things up, it happens. But this is generally what it looks like. You come to the main screen. It shows a lot of the designs that you're working on. It has different navigation tools on the left and up on the top. And then you'll see over here, this is the Plano Public Library star, part of our logo. But that's, since we're logged in, that's what we see. If you have your own account, you'll have a different identifier there. But this is where you can go to your account settings. And you'll definitely want to get familiar with that, as that's where you'll know what email address is attached to it, how you're going to log in. If you want emails from them, that's how you set all that up. They do share emails about like what's new on Canva, recommendations, design challenges. They do all sorts of stuff. And then because this is a team account, we have information about our team, like who is actually on it and billing. You would have that for any account that you are paying for. You would have billing information. That way you could update your credit card or know when it's about to get paid. Any of that information would be there. I won't click on it right now because it shows certain information about paying for our account. But in the account settings is where you're going to find all of that. And that is good for anyone to know. And if you're curious more about the different plans, up here on the top toolbar, there's a few things. In Design Spotlight, they just show off different tools that they have available that you can look through. Same with under Business, they have just different management tools and resources for you to look through. Case studies are really interesting about how people are using these tools, different features that they want to talk about. If you're a business, that's a great place to look at. If you're in education, they have all sorts of other resources for you to look for. And then plans and pricing is where you're going to look. So they have the information about free accounts, pro, and teams. And then, of course, when I mentioned that they have other resources for education and nonprofit, this is where you would go to learn how to get those resources, the features for free that they have available. So they have more information here. So really good for teachers and nonprofits.
All right, Rachel, we do have another question. It says, I teach senior adults, so handouts are a must. Is Canva a tool I can create handouts in?
Oh, yes, for sure. And so this is a 4-part series, the next 4 Fridays. And I believe it's the 4th one where I'll be talking about print materials, and that's kind of where handouts would come into play, like flyers, handouts, anything like that. But a lot of the same tasks that I'll be doing today, you'll find useful to make handouts as well.
All right, thank you.
Of course. So yes, plans and pricing is where you're going to want to find more information about the different accounts. Again, I suggest getting a free one just to start with and play around to see if you like working with Canva. All right, so I clicked on the little Canva logo here to go back to the main screen because I want to show you sort of this workspace and everything that's here. So we already looked at our account settings. And so I mentioned this is where all of your designs are, all in the middle. And it kind of looks like, again, I told you I use this on a daily basis, and it's a team account, so it's more than just me. And there's a lot. There's a lot here. And what's great about one of the tools that Canva has is you can put these all into folders. And I highly suggest you use folders, kind of like files on your own computer. It just helps you stay organized. And you can easily find those folders on the left-hand side. There's a number of different navigations here. And under home, which is where we're at right now, this is home, you have projects. So projects is where you can create folders to keep all of your stuff together. So like I already have one for this class. I've already made a folder, but I've got one for videos, for the library blog, library social media, a lot of different folders, and it just makes it a lot easier than seeing all the designs in one go. So I highly suggest you start off just right off the bat, start organizing, creating folders as you go, because it's just going to make it a bit smoother when you're trying to like, oh man, where did I put that template for this thing? Or, oh, I need to make a handout for this class that I'm doing. Where did I make that last one? And it makes it a lot easier. So, but if I want to go back to home real quick, say you don't have any designs yet. It's just blank. You just made a new account. There's a few different ways you can get started. So Canva asks right off the bat, what will you design today? And it has a few options here of just some common tasks that people are working on. You can click on social media and it will have templates. You can do documents and it will have other templates and even more templates down here. You can even click on that. Up here in the corner, there's another way to get started, create a design. And you can either search for something, like if I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to make a social media post, I can do a Facebook cover, event cover, a post, and I didn't even have to write the full word Facebook. It already knew what I was looking for. You can also, if there's a size that you typically work with and you just don't see it here, you're not quite sure, you can choose custom size. So when you click on that, it asks what size you want. And it has a few different options like pixel, inches, millimeters, and centimeters. More common for us is pixels and inches. Canva is a company out of Australia. So that's why you might see millimeters and centimeters. Or even some of their documents are listed differently, like A4 versus letter, but they do have letter as well. So like if I choose inches and I want 8.5 by 11, which is your standard piece of paper here, and they even have suggestions of options here, I can then create new design and it makes it. So this is now 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that I can now work on. But before I actually want to work on any sort of document, I want to get my brand documents together. And I'm talking about my logo, my fonts, my colors, because if you're wanting things to be on brand and themed, then you're going to want to share that same brand, that same look. And we talked about earlier that a brand, it's a name, a term, design, a symbol, or any other feature that distinguishes your business, your good, your service from another. And this can be your logo, your color scheme, your fonts. It can also be your mission statement, your vision, your values, anything like that. And these are all things that you should explore before making any sort of branding decision. And you want to make sure it reflects the purpose of your business. And off the top of your head, you can probably think of a number of brands and what their brand kit features. You know, McDonald's has golden arches, and they often use red, white, and yellow in a lot of their branding. The city of Plano, of course, has white, dark red, and blue with the Plano P. And of course, even Plano Public Library, we have our star with 5 colors, and each of those colors represents a library here in Plano. So if you don't already have a logo, you could actually use Canva to make one, which is handy, of course. But I'm going to show you real quick one of the tools that we're going to be working in today, and this is a paid tool. And how you know that is it has this tiny little crown next to it. Now, you can still make your own logo, figure out what fonts you like and what colors you like, and consistently use them without this brand hub. The brand hub just makes it easier. So you can still have all of that. This just makes it more efficient. When I click on Brand Hub, I can see the library's brand kit. I have a lot of different logos that we use for a number of graphics. Maybe it's our Teen Street team. I want to put their logo on a blog post graphic. You know, we have our own logo in a variety of, if it's black and white, if it's in color, vertical, horizontal. We have our color schemes already laid out. We even have the City of Plano colors right there. We have the fonts that we use already laid out. And then they have a few other areas that you can, these are a bit more recent that they've added, that if there are common photos that you want to use or icons, graphics, anything like that, you can have all together. But having this already chosen, already selected, makes it really easy to make a new handout and add your logo in the bottom corner, or use the same colors in the title and the same font to write the title. So it's just really handy to have all of this decided ahead of time. And you can even use Canva to do all of this. So like to make those decisions, which is really nice. So that's what this brand is. But I want to show you first, because if you're going to need a logo, one of the other tools that Canva has are templates. So under templates, they have suggestions for pretty much everything you can make here. And you can either search for it, which I should just be able to search logo. And I'm just going to go to see all, because I'm just going to search for logos in general. So these are a bunch of just somebody somewhere has made these and they're just suggestions. So depending on your business, you may think, ooh, I kind of like that font that they used, or I like that it's a circle, or anything like that. Whatever strikes your fancy, you're like, ooh, I like that color scheme, whatever it is. They have templates that you can use. Just really, really nice. Especially if you're starting from square one, you're not quite sure what you like or how you want it to go. Maybe you're not too picky on fonts or colors or anything. You just want to start with something super simple. This is a great place to be, is in these templates. They have, I think it said at the top, a few tens of thousand options. So you have a few to choose from. You can also start off with a blank square, which is what I'm going to do. So I can show you the editor tool. So you can start off with a template and you can actually see a lot of the templates here still that you can still click on and use, or you can start off with a blank canvas. Canva. Anyway, so right now we're in the editor tool. And this is what it's generally going to look like, whether you're working on a video, a handout, social media, anything. This is the general layout of the editor. If you're working on a video, it might have a few different features, which we'll get to in, I think, our third class. We'll talk about video. But otherwise, this is what the general editor looks like. This right here, this white space, that is your canvas. That is your, this is where we're going to build our logo. And then you also have your file name up here. Right now it's untitled. So I'm just going to put logo. That way I have something to start with. Up here you have a few other navigation tools. File, like you would see in any other program application. There's just a few things you can do. Canva is going to automatically save as you create, but you can, and it says here, all changes saved, but you can always go to file and save if you want to. You always can. You don't have to worry about that. Yes.
All right, Rachel, we have a couple questions.
Yeah.
One is, let's see, can you make money designing templates for Canva?
I feel like I've seen people online who do that, but I don't know how that works, since that's not how I use Canva for work. But I have seen people that use Canva to make templates. I'm not sure if it's for Canva specifically or if it's for creating other tools. That would have to be something you actively ask the company Canva of how that works.
All right, thanks. The other question is, it just says, what is the size? I presume that means of this canvas specifically that you have up.
Yeah. Typically, I think where it normally has it. So this one is currently 500 by 500 pixels. Is this of the current size of this document, which I think is its standard for all of these logo templates is 500 by 500 from what I've seen them use.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. One other easy way to see that, and always handy to have, under view settings, you can have show rulers and guides. And when you do that, it will have a little ruler at the top and it goes all the way to 500. So it's, yes, that we are correct. It is 500 by 500. And then on the side, 500 by 500. And a really handy tool here is when you hover over the ruler, you can see that little black, the cursor change. You can click and drag a guide. So this line won't ever be printed or seen on a final product. It's just while you're working on it here in Canva. If you're thinking, oh, I want everything to line up to, this line here, you can set it there and you can do the same from the top. Guides are very handy if you're wanting stuff to match up. So you can always use those. And then to get rid of it, you just click and drag it up off the screen. So those are really nice. Yeah, having your ruler out, very handy. Another thing you might find useful is right down here on the bottom right is a zoom bar, I guess is the best way to do it. So if you're wanting to get a lot closer to your canvas, maybe there's something very specific that you're wanting to get really close to, you can zoom in, you can zoom out. If you're wanting to see it further away, just to get a good idea of what it looks like at a distance, you can also just have it fill your page. And then if you have multiple pages, or if you're wanting to look at multiple pages at once, you can always add a page. You can duplicate your page. So if you already had anything on this canvas and you're like, oh, I want to tweak this, but I want to keep an original just because I don't want to mess with the original. I just want to see if something looks like better, different color, whatever. You can duplicate that page. It'll copy everything you already have, and then you can adjust it on the next page. And then there's a way to view multiple pages in a grid, but we only have one right now. So there are different tools down here that are really handy to look at. And then over off to the side here, this black toolbar on the left are a number of other options for you. So in the design tab that we're in right now, that's where a lot of those templates are that you can easily play with. If you were just like, hey, I really like the look of, I'm just gonna pick one. Just go with this one. I click on it, it's just gonna show up here. And so now you have access to the different text fields that are here that you can change the words, you can change the font, you can change all of this. You don't even have to keep all of this if you don't want. And you'll see the purple bounding square around each of these as I hover over them separately. But that is where all the templates are for this specific style. So knowing this was a blank logo, they're going to suggest other logo templates like it. So that's what's over here. Under elements is where everything is that Canva offers: graphics, video, audio, stock images. All of that is under elements. So depending on your business or what you're wanting to look for, that's what you're going to search for. So my fake business idea that I came up with is actually it's called Sneak, the sneaker store. So I want to look for sneakers. And so you can just search, and Canva may or may not have what you're looking for. You may have to try different terms. Like I could try shoe, sneaker, tennis shoe. Like there's different words I could use, but I'm gonna go with sneaker and see what they have. And I'm probably gonna look for graphic, because photos aren't typically what you'll have for a logo. Graphics are more illustrations, digital native drawings, anything like that. So they have a lot of options here, and you'll see that tiny little crown next to a few of them. Those are available with a pro account, or if you do have a free account, you would then pay for an individual item as you need it. If I recall, that's how that works. But with a pro account or a team account, you would have access to all of these without individually paying for each one. So that's the main difference there. But they have lots of options. They have lots of free options too. So you can see there's a number of them that don't have the little crown next to them. So there are plenty to play with here. And I'm gonna go with, there's so many options, so many sneakers. I'm gonna go with this one right here. That'll work. And this is where you could probably spend hours, is figuring out your design of your logo, the font choices, the colors. I'm just going to show you pretty basic how you can use these tools, because I have spent a long time playing with these tools. So I have a sneaker.
Hey, Rachel?
Yes, sure.
Sorry. I believe that you're getting to this, but we did have a question asking, is there option to draw and customize as I want to use it to my brand art?
That is a good question. I think this might be one of their newer features, because I don't remember seeing draw before. The answer is, it looks like yes, but probably not to the same extent as someone would draw, say, in Adobe Illustrator. It looks like they are drawing tools, but maybe not as smooth as you would normally create. I actually haven't played with these drawing tools yet because I literally just watched a webinar last week from Canva of a lot of their new tools that they just put out, and this might actually be one of their newer ones. It does smooth it out a little bit, but it's not quite the same. So yes, kind of. And if you already have a logo or any of that, you can also upload that to your brand kit. You can upload files, which is one of the other tabs here. So you don't have to go with just what Canva has. You can upload your own content as well.
All right, thank you.
No problem. So just to go back here. So I've got this little shoe. And so once I have the shoe selected, a lot of different tools pop up right here. So you'll see if I'm not clicked on it, those tools change. And the same thing will happen when I'm on this text. There are different tools. So different tools for different aspects of the design, because you won't always need font choices up when you're not working on a text field, which makes sense. They want to make it easy for you to do the one task you're looking to do. So I can choose a color, and you'll see with the library's brand kit still here, it's showing me our brand colors. And you can choose another brand kit. So once we have our sneak one done, we'll be able to see it. But let's go ahead and just make a logo real quick. And I'm just going to choose black because it's very simple. And I don't necessarily want some of these features, which you can just select and delete. You can move them because maybe you're not sure if you want to use them yet. You can move them out of the way. You just click and drag them. But I'm just going to delete them for right now. And one really neat tool is, so I've selected the shoe. You can see that you can, there are some editing features that they have. It just depends on the graphic or photo that you're working with, which editing tools are available. You can crop it if you need to. You can flip it. You're like, oh, I'd actually like the shoe to face the other direction for whatever reason. And then position is a really handy tool that we have access to. So you can move this more precisely in this. But one of their newer features is layers. This is very common in Adobe tools, is having layers and being able to see them. So right now, it's actually how I want it, in that the text is on top of the shoe. But if for some reason I wanted to switch them, I can just click and drag. Maybe the other way is a little bit easier, and move them around. You can't really tell because the color of everything is black, but this is now, the text is behind the shoe. That's not actually how I want it, so I'm gonna put it back. But makes it really easy to see what is where and make it easier to move around. So that position is very handy. So now I'm gonna change my text because my business name is Sketch. I'm like, that font's not really going to work for me. So let me find one that I do want. There are many fonts. It is, and just like within the elements of the graphics and everything, the little crown is for paid or pro accounts as opposed to ones without a crown. So you can easily see, like I mentioned earlier, which ones are available to you depending on the account that you use. And it will let you know if you're using one when you're gonna export the file, if you've accidentally used something that you didn't mean to. And you can just click on a font and decide, ooh, do I like that one? You can change the size. That's what this 28 is. It's font size. And if you hover over any of these tools, it'll tell you what it is and what it can do. And so first off, I'm going to change the color. I want it to be white. And they already have some pretty common colors chosen. But if there's a color in particular that you like, or you just want to browse and look at different colors, you can click on this little rainbow box and find different colors. And you can see the word on the graphic changing as I move the color around. And these are just reds, but you can move through the color system and find whatever colors you're looking for. I'm still just going to stick with white because black and white makes it easy to figure some stuff out. And then you can go back and you're like, oh, I'm not quite sure about that font. Main thing about fonts is that you want it to be legible. You want people to be able to read it wherever they are. That's one thing to really think about. Like that one, while it looks kind of cool, and I can zoom in so it's a little bit easier for everyone to see, it's not very legible. I mean, I can read it because I typed out the word, but it could be easier to read. That one, very legible. Is it the vibe I want? Maybe. So again, you could go down a rabbit hole of which fonts do I like, which one do I want. I highly suggest you find 2 or 3 that you like and then have someone else look at them and help you make a decision, because it really is helpful to have another person have their eye on it. So you'd be like, oh, okay, I didn't even think about that. Like, I don't think that font really fits the vibe of a sneaker store. I just put sketch and that's not what I meant. Sneak. I was thinking Skechers in my brain, I think, which is a brand of sneakers. So again, it's an easy rabbit hole to go down. So I'm just going to choose one.
Okay, we had another question, Rachel.
Yeah.
It says, can we make invites and such for free? And how do we find templates and fonts for them?
So that's probably something I'm going to talk more about on that print marketing class. But again, so on the main, there's templates. There's actually a section called cards and invitations. And they have a lot to choose from. You can specifically look at invitations. And now I want to double check here because you mentioned specifically if it's free. Because I would just think that sometimes these templates might be using features that aren't free. And so, oh, but it does say browse templates. So it looks like that is an option. But yes, you can make invitations and they have templates for those.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And then I believe we had a question about how long the class is going today. And I believe that's until 4 p.m.
Correct. Yeah, these are generally an hour long.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so I'm just going to stick with that font because it is 3:40 and I don't want to take forever looking at fonts. I could keep this circle. I could choose anything else really. You could look for so many options. If you're not someone who cares about this, you could always find someone who does. I mean, there are plenty of people out there that this is how they make their livelihood, is exploring design choices and helping people with their brand. So that's definitely an option for you. This is just a way for you to explore it yourself. And you don't have to know all the finer tools that maybe Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop or any of that have. Okay, so I'm going to change my colors a little bit here. It looks like that is kind of looks like it's black, but doesn't quite match the black of the text like I want it to. And I want to make sure everything's in the correct position. So I go to position and layers. Aha, that's why I can't get to the shoe, because this is on top of the shoe. Now, because you can't see the shoe right now, so I'm going to swap this and make it white. So if I wanted to, this could be my logo. Very simple, to the point. It has a sneaker. It says the word sneak. That's, I mean, looks fine to me for what I need it to do. And we've explored a lot of the different tools. Now, I can drag and select all of these. I can group them. I'm wanting to make this a little bit bigger so it fills the space more. That way, depending on what I want to use it for later, it will it'll resize really well since it's bigger to start with. Now, I've finished with this. So one thing I'm going to want to do is under File. All the changes have already been saved, so I don't have to worry about that. But the one thing I mentioned pretty upfront was about keeping yourself organized. So I'm going to save it to a folder. And I already have one for this class, but you can always create a new one. Create new right there. So I'm just going to click here and hit save. So now when I go back to my folders, I can find this document really easily in case there's something I want to change. Now,
All right.
I want,
we have one more question about
Sure.
This logo. It says, can you mask the texture onto the sneaker?
I don't think that Canva has quite that kind of feature. Sometimes they do. I can't go into detail about every single possible feature that Canva has because we would be here all day. But they do have, I know I have seen they have some editing tools that work like that, but not quite to that extent that I'm aware of. It's like they can do mock-ups and they have some editing features, but not quite masking, no. Or at least not that I've seen. And who's to know when they'll have it, because they've added so many different features, even just this year alone. Because I taught this class back in December, and they've added a handful of new features since then. So it wouldn't surprise me if they get around to it.
All right, thank you. And we had another question just pop up, which was what format do these save as? So if you import a logo or other item, what formats does it accept as well?
So one thing I just found out last week during their webinar is they actually accept a number of files. You can actually upload like Illustrator files and Photoshop files like that are native to those programs into Canva and still edit them. Now, when I'm saving them, so under this over here, this share button, I want to download. You have a few different options, and it's often going to suggest a PNG just because this is an illustration with multiple graphics on it, but it does have JPEG, PDF, SVG, and then of course video and GIFs, but we're going to go with PNG. While it is what they suggested, it is actually what I want. You can change the file size of it. We're going to just leave that alone for right now. And I do want a transparent background. Now you will see transparent background is a paid option. So it's available because of our account that we have. But what transparent does for a logo in particular is that it's going to allow me to place this logo on top of anything without having a white background. So it's just going to have this black splatter, the sneaker, and the word sneak. And I can put it on top of images for social media, on handouts that have other background information, and it won't have a white bounding box around it. that's the main reason you're going to want a transparent background and why you'll often see that with graphics. And so then I can just hit download and it will download it for me. And I already have a folder on my desktop for it. And I'd already made a couple of logos to play around with. So I'm just going to make another one. So to go back to, I'm going to go back to the home because I want to show you the brand hub. Because it sounds like some people already have logos. Some people might need to make content in Canva before they have them. So I'm going to make a brand kit for Sneak. So I'm going to hit create. And so this is what it looks like blank. So we're going to need to add our logo, any color choices we're going to have, any fonts that we want to have. And you don't have to think of these immediately. It's nice to have it all ahead of time. That way, when you start making your new content, you already have it done. So what I'm going to do is go to my folder where I have my logos saved. And I'm going to go ahead and you can upload more than one. If you saw the Plano Library one, we had a few. So now they're loading right here. And colors, I mean, I've basically just been using black and white. So we're just going to put black and white for right now. White's always going to be in that corner. And black. And I could choose at any point in time, because it's only black and white, I could always choose to change out this background color and the text color to make them a different color to fit whatever theme need I have. And now if you want to choose your fonts for title, subtitle, heading, any of that, you would just hit the little edit button and choose your font, whatever fonts you were going to choose. I'm going to have to add those in a minute, and then if you already have photos that your business uses often that you like, you can have those here as well. And what that's going to look like, I'm just going to show you again in here, is you have that brand hub where you can easily see your logos. And this is still showing the Plano Library one, but you can easily see your logos and click on them and they'll open up on the page. That way you're not having to be like, oh, where do I have that file? Because there is an area where you can upload files. Just uploads. We have a lot of stuff in here. A lot. And you don't want your stuff to get buried that you're going to need often. So having that brand hub is really handy, just because it'll make it easier to find. And as we saw, so upload is where you can upload files. And you have a number of places you can upload from. But if you just click upload files, it's just going to bring up your file explorer that you have on your computer, just your typical one. And then you can also look at your project folders in here. You can see the different folders that you've been working with. And you can pull up those as well. There are different apps that Canva uses. I haven't explored all of these because again, there's so many features that you can explore. But they do have other apps that they have direct access with. If you're making videos, which we'll talk about in one of our other classes, they do have audio that you can pull from. And I think audio might, for the most part, be a pro feature, but it looks like they do have some free ones as well. And then one of the tools that I just learned about last week as well is a translate tool. So I don't know the accuracy of this. I hope it's pretty accurate for them to be promoting it as much, but say if you have a handout or instructions and you're wanting it to be, from English to Spanish or the other way around, you can set it up to translate the language. So that's really handy if you know your community needs the resource in another language. So And then there are a number of tabs here that are some of the folders that we use. Like you can see the Canva class one right there. There's just so that all of your files are right there. And from what I can tell, it's choosing them based on how often you've opened that project folder, or sometimes it seems arbitrary. But so there are a lot of tools to the left-hand side. I don't think I clicked on the text one, but it's different text tools. Some that they already have made that look fun. And then, of course, you can just add a text box. Yes.
So there was a question about if they have a tool that allows for, it looks like the question is for personalized, like avatar characters, something like that.
If they do, it's probably going to be in this apps feature. And I am not sure. We haven't used that here. It wouldn't surprise me. It looks like they have one called character. I don't know if that might be it, but that's one of those things that's worth just exploring around. So I'm not sure. But they do have, like, there are a lot of different apps that they have access to.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yep.
We had one more question just pop up.
Yep.
It says, could you explain how to use the QR code feature? I'm not sure what aspect they mean.
There is I think it's an app. I'm trying to remember. I just fiddled with that the other day too. Yes, it's one of the apps that they have access to. So when I click on it, they'll create a QR code. So you enter your URL. So if I did planolibrary.org, generate a code, and it makes a QR code. Boom, right there. So now you all should be able to have your phone open. I mean, it might be confused. I don't know if it's confused by all the black and white behind it, but it has generated just a QR code. Now this, I don't know if this is a paid feature or if it just comes with Canva natively. It doesn't have a little crown next to it, so I would think it's free, but I'm not entirely sure. But I know QR codes are making the way around, so it's a handy feature to have access to.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Let's see. So are there any more questions about this editor? Now in the next 3 classes, we're going to be using the editor in each one. Next week, we're going to be talking about social media. So I'll be talking about social media templates and how to use the editing tools again. And then the following week will be about video. So we're talking about video tools within the editor. And then the following week is about print material. So we'll be talking about a lot of the same features that we went over today, but of course, the more you use it, the more you understand it and the easier it is. So like about text and uploading, and then the different elements when you're searching, uploading content. So we'll be going through a lot of these over and over and over again, but using a lot of those different templates. Are there any questions for right now?
It looks like we've answered all of them for now. I've also put the link for the next class in the chat.
Perfect, thank you. I want to go to this. So as you can tell, I'm going over some very basic information, but the library does have additional resources where you can learn more about whether it's marketing and business or Canva specifically. So Canva actually has their own education tools within the app. It was one of the tabs at the top, I believe. But with your library card, if you have a Plano Public Library card, you have access to LinkedIn Learning as well as Udemy. So Udemy is one of our newer resources that I think we got last fall. And they have that's what the screenshot is over here. They have a Canva master course. And I believe it's a number of hours worth of training but it's broken down in different sections. And they even talk about creating your brand identity and designing your brand, including like logos, colors, all of that kind of stuff. So with your Plano Public Library card, you have free access to LinkedIn Learning as well as Udemy. I highly suggest you use it. It's a great tool. This QR code gets you to our database list, which includes Udemy and LinkedIn Learning. I also include Press Reader. That's where we have digital magazines, and we have a number of digital magazines that are on business and marketing. And that's just for if you're interested in learning more about business and marketing. And then for any other Canva tools, YouTube is a fantastic resource, not just because Plano Public Library has our own YouTube channel, but you can look up, like a lot of you had very specific questions that maybe just because I've never used it doesn't mean there's not information out there about it. If you want to look on YouTube for information about some of those Canva apps and tools, you can search for there, and likely someone has posted a video about it or explored it in some fashion. You may even find it in this Udemy class on Canva. So, and the class on Udemy and LinkedIn Learning, those are all self-paced. So it's up whenever you have time to work on it. It's not like a school schedule. So like I mentioned earlier, we do record a lot of our online classes onto the library's YouTube channel. And some of the past ones that we've recorded are building your brand, and then product photography and platforms to sell. I thought those might be interesting for if some of you have your own business. And we even have some of these classes coming up this summer and into the fall. But one in particular that we have coming up, and it's in person, is our Team Up for Entrepreneurial Success, TWOS. This is a monthly meeting that we do every month. It's, I think it's the fourth Tuesday every month is what it is. And it's at Haggard Library at 6:30 p.m. The next one is July 25th. And it's our Dallas Score mentors. So there's actually a free service that the library provides with Dallas Score. They are business mentors, and they'll work with entrepreneurs trying to build their business. And at the Team Up for Entrepreneurial Success, you can go and they'll talk about any like a specific topic for that day. And on the 25th, they're talking about brand development, which sort of goes in with the whole making your own logo and your brand and everything. And you can talk to the mentors there. They'll talk about different resources that they have as well as the library. And then the other entrepreneurs will be there as well for you to network with. So it's a fantastic in-person meeting that we have every month. And then the SCORE mentors are available weekly for people who are looking to work on their business. And so the QR code on the screen is the registration for this TWOS meeting. They do prefer that you register just so they have an idea of how many people are coming. And I think Sabrina is going to put the link in the chat, just in case.
Yes, it is there.
Perfect. And then these are QR codes directly to our YouTube channel for our Canva playlist. So the classes that we taught back in December, in case you want to watch the ones we did in December versus the ones coming up, up to your schedule. It's where all the new recordings will be as well. And then we also have a playlist specifically for our business and career videos that there's a number of different business topics up there that are recordings of our previous workshops. And then ones coming up will also be there once they're recorded. And if you subscribe to the Plano Public Library's YouTube channel, you'll get notifications as new videos go live. And there's probably 1 to 2 each week, especially of our workshops that have been recorded. And are there any other questions for today that I can answer? As a reminder, next week we're going to talk about social media. And then the following week is video. And the week after that is print material. So I hope this gave you a very brief look into Canva as we explore it further over the next few weeks.
It looks like all the questions are answered for now.
Okay. Well, it is 4:01, so I want to make sure to be respectful of everyone's time. So thanks you for joining us today, and let us know. You can always send us an email. You'll get an email in a few days leading you to the recording of this, and you can always let us know if you have any questions, even at that point. There'll be an email address attached to that. So thank you again for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.